Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Rugby TTL Ascent Rugby Series. We've already had RC Emland on. We've also interviewed with the Frankfurt, and we've also had Dan over from Pogon. Now it's time for Niel Otto from the Dukes. We've managed to get in around them. We've got hopefully two more to get to, but this is obviously one leading up to it. We've got the weekend in Frankfurt heading into it. Neil, really appreciate your time and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure being on board, and hopefully we can chat some good rugby.
Yeah, so obviously, Neil, you play for the Dukes over in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
How did that all come about? Because if my research is right, you've got quite an interesting debut, should we say?
Yeah. So what happened was I was playing in South Africa for the Griquas, the Currie Cup, and then my contract came to an end. Then I was 27, and then me and my wife recently got married then. And we decided, I almost decided I want to stop playing rugby. Maybe I must just pursue my goal of starting to work, going in strength and conditioning as a coach. And then my wife got a job opportunity in the Netherlands. She also has some family in the Netherlands from my grandmother's side. And then, we took the leap to come over. And funny enough, I just Googled what rugby club is in town, or there's one close by. I actually just wanted to connect with people and just play some rugby just for the fun of it. And then, I saw the Dukes are in Bosch. We moved to Den Bosch. And then, I got in contact with one of the managers through a friend that played for them that I knew. And then I just asked, can I come play for the club? And they said, yeah, perfect. And then I came over in, when was this? December, was it 2025? I came over, me and my wife. And then, from there, never looked back. Then it's been a real amazing journey. Playing rugby, working, it's obviously different than what I was used to. But it was great so far.
Amazing. So if I've got my research right, your debut, you come off the bench and scored a hat-trick. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's one way to make an impact, isn't it?
Yeah, so it was quite funny because we played in Amsterdam. It's on the bench, but it was the worst weather I've ever experienced. The wind was, I don't know, 200. I'm not saying 200 kilometers an hour.
Yeah,
but it was
felt
crazy.
like it.
Nothing I'm used to. And it was raining and it was cold, and I was like, this is the most horrible weather ever to play rugby. And I was like, I'm probably going to be on the bench. I was on the bench. I was thinking it might be 20 minutes, but after 10 minutes, someone got injured and I got an opportunity. I played, and I scored 3 tries. It was a little bit of luck as well, but I mean, it was fun.
That's one hell of a setting the standard as well. Because have you backed that up every game? Have you scored a hat trick every game since? Like they must think that's all you do.
No, not ever since. But I've scored a few after that, but not every game now. I wish I was that lucky. Yeah.
What's the biggest difference you obviously found from moving from Currie Cup standard to playing in the Classe as well for the Dukes? What's the biggest difference you've found from the two setups?
I think it's probably a lot of people. I don't know. A lot of people. It is probably true to some sense. Is when you go a little bit higher level, they think it's more physical and all of that. And it's probably in some sense a little bit more physical, but that's not really the difference for me. If you play a little bit higher level, if you make a mistake, the other team will score points. If you play against not such a good team or maybe a lower level, if you might call it that, you get away with mistakes. You cannot drop a ball. You can give away a penalty. They probably won't score points from it or won't punish you. But the higher level you go, the error rates are just so much lower. And that's basically the biggest difference I find is guys make less mistakes the higher level you play. But also in saying that, there's some really good Classe teams, Haagse, Emland, all those teams are really good. So when you do play them, you also get punished when you make mistakes. But at the higher level, it's just more so.
Yeah, nice. So obviously you guys reached the final this year in the Classe. Yeah. Obviously didn't get the result you guys wanted, but what was the steps and the improvement? Obviously, because it's taken a little while. It was 18 years since the Dukes had managed to get to a final or something. If my research is right,
this year was 10 years since I last played in the final. It could have been 18 years since I last won it.
Yeah, so it's been a while. What's been those rebuilding blocks back to get into the final? Obviously, it didn't get the result, but it doesn't happen overnight, does it?
No, it doesn't. And I think probably one of the most important things in Netherlands is having a squad together for more than a season. I think if you can have the important guys or the important positions in your team being the same guys going from one season to another, so building some continuity, I think that's really important. That's something we managed last season. Was we quite had a big group of the previous years still here playing, local boys and a few boys from overseas playing. So that, I think that was quite an important step for the club, keeping some guys and not every season having 5 or 8 new guys coming in. You know, so I think if you, in the era class, if you can keep continuity going in your squad, and by doing that, developing young guys, I think there's also quite a big emphasis on our esports team, our junior team, if you may call that. Although they have been playing quite a while now, they're actually still really young players, Hein. So I think the club also does really well to develop young players.
As you said, you managed to keep some of the squad together for the last season. Looks like there's been a few lads moved on over the summer, and is there a few more coming in? Is it, you've obviously got, looks like you've had a bit of movement, players coming in, players going into the Ascent Rugby Series. Have you got a bit of a new shape squad?
Yeah, going into especially the 2 upcoming games in the series, there's some guys still coming in, but not many. But I also think this is a great opportunity for guys that does not always get to play, young guys to prove a point. We were speaking last night, they're training this really 19-year-old, 20-year-old guys that's putting up the hand in training and saying I want to play for the first team. And I think it's good competition. So I think this is also opportunity for them to now in the actual game prove themselves and be like, I want to start, I want to play this season. So yeah, it's going to be a good mix of a little bit of senior guys, but also quite a big, good mix of young players.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, obviously, going to Frankfurt and then the weekend after you get to host it.
It's not really your classic rugby field, which is a little bit isolated and people only come there when they have to go to the rugby. A lot of people just walk past and they see rugby and they stop and they watch for a little bit. So I think I think the boys are quite excited, but we're also quite excited to go to Frankfurt. I think personally myself, I've never been there. I didn't even know it's about 3.5 hours drive from Den Bosch. I thought it's close by because everything in this country. So now I'm going outside the country. So it's actually quite a drive, but we're quite looking forward to it. We're also planning to stay there for the night. Just, also a nice opportunity for the team to bond a little bit.
Nice. So the travel down on the coach, do a proper bus tour down with the boys and stay overnight. And
yeah, just spend some time together. I think often nowadays, and that's how life is. It's so busy and we want to move on to the next big thing. But sometimes you just need to enjoy it. That's what, man. Spend some time together.
Yeah, sounds good. Obviously, Frankfurt are bang up for it. Look like they're going to put a great show on as well. But you guys are going there and taking on a kind of an unknown. So you've got what was originally classified as the Adler 15. They've been renamed the Vanguard. How do you prepare as a squad? And obviously your coaches have probably got a different plan, but how do you prepare for a squad that you don't actually know who's in the squad? Because nobody actually knows their lineup yet. We know the coach, but we know players that might be around it. But how do you prepare for something that hasn't been formed or even ready yet?
Yeah, true. I think, firstly, I think it's great to be playing another team that we're not used to or teams we're not used to. I think often the thing in the Netherlands or in the smaller European countries, we don't get to play other teams. We play the same teams over and over, year in, year out. So I think it's a good challenge to play some other opposition you're not used to, firstly. Secondly, I think for us, we haven't really put too much emphasis on who we are playing in terms of personnel and plans and that. We just want to focus on ourselves. We really want to put some systems in place that we want to build on into the rest of the season. So for us, is to test those systems, see what works, what doesn't work. So yeah, we pretty much taking the game on as an opportunity to test ourselves, see what works, and also to get some guys opportunity to play that maybe hasn't played that much or want to put up the hand for playing for this first team for the season to come. So yeah, we haven't done too much talking in the group about the team who are playing. We're going to take it as an opportunity to build on ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone else I've spoke to is as rugby catchphrase is, it's you focus on your own game. The rest of it will sort of fall around it. But how's pre-season gone for you guys? Because when I spoke to Mitch over at RC Emland, he was saying that they gave the lads a month off roughly, and they've been back a couple of weeks, and these two games are going to be the pre-season because the Eredivisie starts basically the Frankfurt German league starts straight after. You've got a little bit, not too much afterwards as well before your season starts. Is this the same? Have you had like a smaller window and these two games are going to be your pre-season?
Yeah, we've had a few weeks together now, just working on getting some basics installed, some systems installed. Obviously working hard on our conditioning, running around a little bit. So yeah, we've pretty much got the same mindset. We're going to go into these games, test our systems, get a run around, get some guys some opportunities to play. So when the Eredivisie starts, we are pretty much ready to rock and roll. But also it's also a challenging time with some guys coming in, some guys leaving as well. So yeah, we will take it as it comes. We've got no real big plans going into the game next week in terms of really what exactly we want to do. We just want to put our plans out there and see how if it works or not, and then change it from there if it doesn't.
For those that haven't watched the Eredivisie or the Dukes play before, what is the sort of the overriding style? What's the sort of gameplay that you guys like to play?
We like to run with the ball. We've got some few players that like to run with it, but also last season taught us that if you go into important games, you need to have another plan. You can't just have your plan A. You sometimes need a plan B or C if your plan doesn't work. And that's probably a big learning that we took from last season, losing in the final. If you look at Haagse, they have been in a few finals in the last few seasons, and they knew how to win a final. I would not necessarily say they are the best, much better than us. They just knew how to win the game, and we didn't. So that's something that we learned, and that's obviously something that we want to implement in the new season.
Oh, so I was about to ask that. How do you pick the lads up off what was probably a final that was there for the winning for you guys as well? Yeah, that must be really hard to get them going again.
It was definitely, if you look back, it was probably our final to lose, and we did that. We lost it out for ourselves. But yeah, they put their pressure on us. They took their points when they had the opportunity, and we didn't. But in also saying that this is the first time in 10 years that the Dukes have been in the final. So for all of us, it was new. Like the lads have never experienced it. So yeah, experience at the end of the day in rugby plays also a big role. If you know how to handle some situations. Looking back now, if we had to do it over, then there were some decisions we would have made differently. But that's why rugby is such a great sport. One day you lose, but you have opportunity again the next day to fix it or make some changes and be better.
What's the overriding emotion within the camp for the Ascent Rugby Series? Obviously, it's a whole different competition for you guys to be involved in. The Eredivisie is obviously the bread and butter, but an opportunity to go and test yourselves against sort of other European nations with their league. Obviously, Pogon coming in, winning their league, Hatra being top of their league. Obviously, you know RC Emland, but Frankfurt were unbeaten all last season. Obviously, we got the Belgian side joining as well. There's a real mix of styles and ways of playing, and it must really excite players to say, well, actually, we've kind of got our own version of the Champions Cup, say, being formed here, and like to be part of the start of that. That must be amazing to say, well, yeah, we were one of the first involved in that.
Yeah, I think the guys are quite excited. I'm personally very excited. Firstly, it's a little bit of the unknown, so you don't know what to expect. And secondly, I believe the only way teams are going to get better, and we're going to get better, is by playing either the quality or position. Get the best of the best from the countries playing together, and then by doing that, we all improve. We all get better.
Yeah, agreed. I think obviously some of the teams have also played each other in sort of friendlies. Like RC Emland had a game against the Pogon. I think you guys have also sort of got yourselves involved in other games. Is there much of a focus on like whether obviously a lot of games aren't probably streamed, etc., etc. Is there much scouting done? Is it through contacts? I know obviously we say that you got to focus on your own game, but like when I was speaking to Mitch, he said conveniently somebody was out in Prague at the same time that Tatra were playing a game, and he might have gone and watched it, and somebody's taken a notebook. Like, there is any of that's going on with the Dukes, or is this lots of contacts on net, or it's just solely focus on your own drills?
Personally, we have not really spoken much about who we are playing and what to expect, and maybe some things they have up their sleeves and things they are doing. Yeah, like I said, for us, at this stage, the most important thing is get guys to play, get some systems in place, see if it works. If it doesn't work, great. We have some time to adjust, get better. But I think it's also nice. Sometimes it's also, yeah, I think sometimes in rugby, especially nowadays, everything is so structured, and you need to analyze this and this and this. And we find sometimes we get just to play on instinct. I think.
Yeah.
I think we should, and it's great that we have that. It should be there because that's also how you get better. But sometimes you also just need to play rugby. Like the way you play in your backyard when you was a young kid.
Yeah. No, it's exciting because like different teams have got different techniques, different ideas, and a lot of, obviously, as you say, there is an element of rugby's gone away from just eyes up rugby, play what's in front of you, because you could plan it to the 10th degree, but until you're actually in the contact and in the battle, you don't know what's going to happen in front of you. Because that must be, again, to do it from like no experience against those teams and to most of the effect. It's a proper like man-to-man battle, because you don't know who your opposition's going to be, and it's just a proper. When you come off the end of it, you think, you've laid everything out on the table and said, right, this is our stall. We're going to go out and go toe to toe. That must be even better, as you said, if you get to then stay down there, have a few beers, have a bit of a night out in Frankfurt, and then get yourself back ready for your own backyard. For those that aren't going to Frankfurt but have got the opportunity to come over to the Dukes, what can they expect for that second weekend? Because it's sort of combined into a bit of a rugby festival already. There's already a bit of a rugby day going on. What's the plan for the Dukes event?
Yeah, so there's always, we have a rugby day every year, so it's the same weekend as that. So it's actually perfect. There's going to be quite a few people, so it's going to be almost like a nice festival going on, if you can call it that. Yeah, firstly, Den Bosch is a great town. So I don't know how many pubs there is even, but there's plenty. So it's a great town to come to. It's also a beautiful town. So I just think clubs coming to us must just take in the environment and take in the people. Den Bosch really has great people, and they just love rugby. I think. Last season with the final, I'm not sure how many thousand supporters we had there, but we had crazy amount of people there coming from Den Bosch in buses. And even though we lost the final, this is the type of people they are, and that's what people can expect from them, is they all came back to the clubhouse afterwards. How many thousand? And they just supported us. And then they said, would be nice to win, but we lost. But that's not what it's about at the end of the day. It's about the community. It's about the people that care for each other. And that's basically sums up the Dukes as a club. So that's what people can expect: hospitality, great food, great town. I think it's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah, sounds. Obviously, I'll be in Frankfurt. I can't make it across to the Dukes, sadly, but
that's the best.
I'm gutted about that one. So it would be sounds great. Obviously, the Ascent Rugby Series, how did you sort of find out about it? Because obviously it's been building in the background, and then obviously the Dukes got announced from when I was speaking to Byron at Frankfurt. He said that he come up with the idea, and it sort of gathered pace, but obviously through the contacts that you guys had with the Dukes, they had obviously with Frankfurt. When the coaches come to you guys and said, right, we've managed to secure a bit of a European tournament, how was it announced? How did it come across? Because it was a case of, our pre-season sort of going to be changed, and this is how we're going to do it? Or is it a case of, right, lads, we're going to go, we've now got this opportunity to put our market stall out and say, this is how we're going to run our pre-season, and you got a bit of a winter gap as well. You guys get to play at a better standard. How was it announced, and how did that sort of come across with the club? Because obviously it's a big change possibly for some lads as well for what is standard pre-season.
Yeah, no, so they put it on our group. It was, I don't even know how long after the final it was. Guys, we were still on holiday, if you can call it that, and on a break. And then, yeah, they put it on the group. But immediately our leadership group started making plans for the weekend already, because we also see it, yes, it's a great opportunity to play, but we also see it as a great opportunity for our team to get together and just go to a place where not many of us has been. And it's also, I mean, it's also part of rugby. I think stuff like this is so great, man. Like, when I look back in all the time I've been playing rugby, I've experienced so many things and seen so many things because of rugby. And I think that's the beauty of it. Is like we're gonna get to experience it, maybe the different culture than what we used to in the Bosch, different country. I never know, it's just close by. It's still a different country, still a different town. Playing players we have never, we don't even know of. We have never met them, never maybe seen them. And then, like you said earlier, it's like also that thing of, that's also what rugby is about, is for 80 minutes you go at it, but afterwards you have a beer together or whatever it might be. And I think that's why rugby will always be special. And that's one thing that I'm always a little bit scared of, is the professional era is taking that away sometimes to some extent. And I think we should never lose that part of rugby. But yeah, I think we also, in saying that, we also started a few weeks earlier with training than we probably would have, because we had to be basically 1 to 2 weeks earlier prepared for a game than we normally would have been. So yeah, so in the beginning it was a little bit difficult because guys already planned holidays and etc. But yeah, most of the guys that could be at training, my training, and have been working hard for the last few weeks. So yeah, we're really excited to be playing some different position, see with it what's the difference, what's the different levels of the teams we are playing. Yeah, we're just keen to learn on see how it goes.
Awesome. So obviously it's going to be on Rugby Pass. So the games are going to be live streamed on there. I'll be there in Frankfurt joining as co-commentary anyway. So I've managed to jump on. Is the family back in South Africa going to be watching?
Yeah, definitely. My mom and brother always watches, and then my in-laws, my wife's parents also, because my wife is actually the team manager person. So she goes to every game because she's a team manager. But yeah, they all watch every Saturday. They ask for the link. So yeah, it's quite it's quite nice. And also the friends back home, sometimes they watch as well. So
nice. Does that make you nervous, or does that sort of keep you grounded? What's the override emotion, thinking that you got to put on a show because the family's watching, or is it actually, I love that they're there?
Yeah, not really. Actually, I never actually think of it.
Really?
If you're asking me in that sense, no, I never think of it. It's not really. For me, it's I don't know how to put it. I'm quite a competitive person, but I don't really show it. So for me, it's more about myself. Sometimes when I play, in terms of I want to prove myself that I can play at the level, and I'm good enough to play there. More than proving to anyone else that I'm good enough. And in that sense, yeah.
Love it. Niel, really appreciate all your time for this chat. And for those that haven't managed to get your tickets, get over to ascentrugby.com. They're still available for Frankfurt. And by the sounds of it, the tickets you want to go and buy is also for the Duke's party that's going to be the weekend after. Obviously, we'll be on Rugby Pass doing co-commentary for the first weekend as well, so you'll be able to watch the live streams on there. And for everyone else, just make sure you get onto the socials. Go follow the Dukes, because what they're doing on the social media at the minute is great, and it's probably one of the best out there. So it's always great to see what they're doing. And for those that haven't got tickets, just go and buy one, because this is going to be one hell of an event to get around. For everything else, just make sure you follow Rugby TTL and keep an eye on this little mini series, because it seems to get a few people on. So really appreciate everyone's time.